Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Listen, we are your football hub for all football things, you know? That's the thing about this show. It's not just me. I have a lot of information and a lot of knowledge, but we bring on people that have so much knowledge, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Today, I'm real excited about what's gonna happen. Y'all not even gonna see this one coming. Y'all not even gonna see this one coming. I'm gonna jump straight into it, and we gonna get to it. There it is. Derek, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Okay.
Wow. Look at
So
this. I'm back. I'm back, baby.
so that's exactly what I was gonna say, guys. If for our fans that have been with us since like day one, you will see a lot of the things that happen to in terms of our growth. Like I'm always a growth guy. I'm always what happened. You know what I mean? What's the plot and everything? If anybody's seen the growth of this, you will have seen. If you go back and look at the first couple episodes, you're gonna see. Well, the first season, you're gonna see a lot of the sacrifices that allowed us to be here, and we would not be here today without this man right here, Derek. I'm so glad to have this. Listen, I was just telling everybody this might be my favorite episode that I've done so far. This might be my favorite one.
Hey, listen, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be with my cuz. It's been a long time. You know, just to let everybody know, we started this because my cousin and I, Tariq, we would talk sports for hours. We said, hey, why not put it on the podcast? So I'm happy to be back. And I just got woke up. Am I getting paid for this?
No.
No.
But good question. Good question.
Well, I tell you,
Good
I'm doing it.
question.
I'm doing this for free. So
You
what you say?
doing
Okay.
this, you doing this
All
on the
right. Well,
strength, just on the strength. All right,
you know,
cool. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the AFC West and the NFC West. And of course, this is our series. This is our What Did They Do in the Offseason series. So we're going to talk about the moves that they made. I'll go over them, and then you'll be able to I'm just going to ask you what it is that you feel about the moves. And then we're going to talk about what moves after that they need to make in the draft to kind of allow them to make a leap or make that next step. Okay. So let me ask you, seeing how you the guest, you want to start in
yes.
the NFC, you want to start in the AFC?
Let's do AFC,
You want to start in the AFC. Okay.
AFC West, right?
AFC West. So we ain't gonna start with the Super Bowl champs, just to let you know.
Oh, no, let's leave them for last.
We absolutely go and save them for last. Let's go. Who would you like to start with? Let's start there.
Start with the Broncos.
The Denver Broncos. All right, cool. Let's start with the
Yes.
Broncos. All right, cool. So in the offseason, they have signed kicker Will Lutz. They've signed a DN Zach Allen, a guard Ben Powers, Malcolm Roach. These are guys I haven't heard about. They lost Russell Wilson in the offseason. Uh
Right.
they've signed
They traded Jerry Judy.
They traded Jerry Judy. I was getting there. They brought in Cody Barton. It's not too many moves that they have made of it,
Nothing,
but yes,
nothing,
but then,
nothing
but
that
then they
stands out.
traded. They traded Jerry Judy to the Browns. So,
Right.
what do you think about the Broncos? Basically, where they were and where these moves. What do you think they're
Well,
saying? They're
all
communicating
right.
with.
Let's just start here. I mean, listen, Russell Wilson leaves, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson was there. They were 8-9, right?
Mhm.
Russell Wilson played pretty decent going into the end of the year, but they didn't make the playoffs. They weren't that good, right?
Right.
I think Russell Wilson's on the downside of his career. And what's interesting to me about the Broncos is that they need a quarterback, I think, because their starting quarterback is what, Jason Jarrett.
Stidham.
I
Yeah,
can't.
Jared Stidham. Right now, yeah, it is.
Yeah, right now. They need a quarterback. Now, what's interesting, I just found out they moved up in the draft from the 12th to the 4th pick, my friend. Well, what does that tell you? It tells you they're going for a quarterback.
So they. Oh, I didn't know that. So they moved up in the draft.
I looked up. Yeah, so
So the
that
Broncos
tells
had the
me.
number 4 pick. Okay, listen, guys, that's news here. The Broncos got the number 4 pick in the NFL draft. Go ahead.
So that tells me that they're going for a quarterback. They look like they're going for JJ McCarthy, which I guess is going to be good. Listen, as far as the quarterbacks go in this draft, and just on the offside, just mentioned, as far as the quarterbacks, my favorite quarterback is Michael Penix, and he seems to be the last one that's going to be drafted out of all of these guys. but that's the one I like the most. But whatever. So they look like they're going for JJ McCarthy. I will say this though, that they signed they signed a safety, Jones. They've got a couple of guards and I can't pronounce this guy's name, Throckmorton, whatever his name is. So then their need was cornerback and edge safe rusher, but I think their number one need was quarterback. So I think if they had, if they moved up to number 4, I think that's where they're going to be. And you know what? I don't see that. I think they're going to be possibly maybe in last place in the AFC West anyway. But
so let me just say this in terms of moving up in the draft and getting to like the number 4 pick to draft a quarterback.
I believe so. I looked that up and
no. That's valid. That's valid.
So
so I'm gonna tell you this. I actually don't like.
I don't want to be giving no wrong information, but that's what I saw.
Right. In the draft, so like in a draft where a lot of teams don't need quarterbacks, or they're not looking, they have other position needs. I'm like, that's a brilliant move. But in a draft where there's going to be at least 2, possibly 3 going in the first 3 to 4 picks, I actually don't like that move. So we've actually had this conversation before about.
Wait, you don't like what? Them moving up to 4?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay.
So we've actually had this conversation about drafting a quarterback, and like, remember we had a conversation about you draft the number 1 quarterback and then the number 2 quarterback. Yes. Usually both of them are not usually successful. One of them is always a bust. So if you get to the 3rd quarterback in the top 4 picks, more than likely you're going to overdraft somebody and it's going to put expectations on them. And I don't know who at number 4 right now is going to be able to walk in with expectations and say, I'm going to overachieve with this roster that is depleted in a lot of teams, and they let go a lot of pieces, and they're redoing their whole culture. That's a lot to put on a rookie quarterback. Right. Not just stepping in and saying, all right, cool, he can perform, but I have the expectations of bringing up a culture. That's a lot for somebody.
Well, listen, I agree with you in that aspect, but we got to also understand that, the first 2, 3 quarterbacks might not work out, but then you can look in the draft and see quarterbacks that are drafted after them that have been successful. Drafted in 6, 7, second round, whatever. The bottom line is Denver's got to get a quarterback, and they need to start now because they're not going to do anything with the starting quarterback they have now, and they're not going to, you might as well get him now. You and I disagree on this. I always say get the quarterback early, throw him in there, let him get his lumps.
That's why you here.
Look, I can
you here because we disagree on this.
I could talk about Joe Burrow. I could talk about Trevor Lawrence. They went to horrible teams, and look where they are now. All right, so you're gonna have to take a chance, okay? And if they go through this draft and don't pick a quarterback based on all the quarterbacks that are available, that's going to be retarded to me. I think they need to get a quarterback. That's just my thing. I'd rather them get it than not.
So, but like that's what I hate about when people evaluate the quarterback position. They're saying, let's get a quarterback as opposed to let's get the quarterback. If you can't hold on. If you can't get the quarterback, then the best thing you need to do is fill out your roster until you can make a big, massive move to either move up in the draft and free agency or whoever to get the quarterback. But you don't just
where did Josh Allen go?
He went to Buffalo.
He wasn't 1 or 2.
He was, but he was the guy.
No, he wasn't the best quarterback in that draft. I think it was Manziel.
No. Everybody,
it was Baker Mayfield.
Even when we were talking about that draft, he was the most talented. He had the strongest arm. The question was, is his mechanics?
He didn't get drafted number 1 or 2. Hold on. Get drafted 1 or 2.
The question was, is his mechanics going to be what he works on to do that? So that was it. So we're not having a conversation of mechanics or all of this stuff for like who is probably going to be JJ McCarthy, by the way. So for JJ McCarthy, it's about his talent, and I just think that's the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? So
Buffalo drafted Josh Allen, not in the top 3, and he ended up being good.
I suppose you're right. All right, cool.
So you might as well take a chance. You got to take a chance. I think they should take a chance. The only problem with JJ McCarthy is he played on a Super Bowl not Super Bowl, but an NFL caliber team, and did that hide some of his, flaws? Because obviously, when you are a top quarterback, you're going to go to a bad NFL team, and the only way that you're going to survive is if you have the talent to pick that team up. Even though your team is bad, just like Joe Burrow, just like Trevor Lawrence, they went to bad teams. They took their lumps in the first year, but improved every year. You saw something in them. I'm hoping that if they pick JJ McCarthy, they see something in him He may not win a lot, but they see something in that. If they put the right people around him, he will then be able to lead them, a la Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. That's what you got to hope for. That's my thought.
All right, cool, cool.
Now I don't know as far as all three of those, as far as all four quarterbacks, I don't know who's better. Okay, I mean Caleb Williams. Like I said, I like Michael Penix because when I watched him play, he looked like a pro quarterback to me, and I don't understand why he's going. He's going to be the sixth out of all six to be picked. I think he's better than most of them, but that's just my.
We'll find out. We'll
we'll
find out. All right, cool. Well, good. I see you came in with the heat today. I see that, and I love it.
Well, listen, my cousin asked me to come, so I gotta bring it. Let everybody know that I know what I'm talking about.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna pick this next team. We're going to shift to the Raiders.
Okay.
So the Raiders, of course, they brought back Antonio Pierce to be their head coach for that. Okay. They re-signed Amir Abdullah because they lost Josh Jacobs. They brought in Brian Hoyer, or they re-signed Brian Hoyer because they need to still get their quarterback position together. They brought in a center. They actually signed Christian Wilkinson, who's one of the premier defensive tackles. They also brought in Gardner Minshew. From the Colts.
Backup quarterback.
Re-signed Hunter Renfrow.
And they also signed another running back,
Madison
signed Alexander Madison from Minnesota, who's not a bad running back because I had him in fantasy. He actually is not a bad running back. I mean, he's not a Josh Jacobs, but
we'll see. They lost Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
And yeah, let's they also brought in Alexander Madison too. I guess
right, Alexander Madison. Yeah.
So what do you think about these offseason moves in terms of what you saw the Raiders?
Well, listen, Las Vegas was 8-9 last year. Mm-hmm. I was very high on Las Vegas when they had Waller. They had Waller, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Adams, and they couldn't do anything. They had the best running back, the best receiver, the best tight end, and they still couldn't win. Mm-hmm. Now, things have changed. Now Josh Jacobs is gone. I don't see Los Angeles doing anything. I mean, Las Vegas doing anything. They're looking to draft an offensive lineman from Alabama, J.C. Latham. But if they don't get their quarterback situation straightened out, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they had to bring a running back in. Madison is serviceable, and the other guy you mentioned. But as far as their quarterbacks, who's their quarterback?
Right now it's Gardner Minshew.
Right, well, you know what? This is another team that's going to be in the bottom of the barrel, and they better. And
maybe they'll get Michael Penix. Maybe they'll get Michael Penix.
Listen, they picked 13 this year, so they're picking 13. So they better get a quarterback too, or else they ain't gonna be nothing. And I'm gonna tell you another thing: Devontae Adams definitely not gonna be happy on that team.
So my thing is this: I don't.
I thought Derek Carr was on that team. No, Derek Carr was on that team.
He's on the Saints now. He's on the
Saints, right? So
this is one thing. This is one thing that I feel. I don't mind sucking for a year if that means we can be in position to get the quarterback. I don't think every year you got to basically look at these are the quarterbacks, so we got to get one of them. Hold on. I absolutely feel as though you can let one of the let a draft of quarterbacks go if they're not up to par or going to be up to par. I definitely feel as though you can let that slide.
But when you say you can suck for a year to let these quarterbacks go because they're not the quarterback, then next year you're going to be in the same position unless you're picking one or two. You're not going to get the quarterback.
So I'm going to give you a little news flash. If you pick a guy and he don't work out, you're going to be in the same position anyway.
No, well, not necessarily, because if you pick a guy, what do you mean if he doesn't work out? His first year, he's not going to work out. No quarterback does great in that first year.
I'm saying is, what I'm saying is if you draft a quarterback that does not work out, you're going to
be in the same position you are every year because you're not in a position to pick the quarterback.
If you pick, listen. What I'm saying is, if you pick the wrong quarterback, it will set your franchise further back.
But what if you pick the right one?
And what if? How many of the quarterbacks are the right quarterback? It's like 1% or 10% of quarterback. Like, hold on, wait. There's 32 starting quarterbacks, and there's probably 15 to 20 in every draft. Okay, so to act like all of these quarterbacks are the guy, it's such a low percentage. That's what I'm saying.
Well, okay, but then let me ask you a question. The guys that I mentioned, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, pick number one, right? They're all first picks. Mm-hmm. That's the quarterback, and it's no. But then again, there's been first picks quarterbacks Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, that haven't been that. All I'm saying is, if you're gonna, if you think if you're picking seventh, eighth, 7th to 14th, do you think you can get the quarterback at 7 to 14?
My philosophy. This is my philosophy.
And, you might be right. Maybe you can't.
But I'm saying I'm not saying because there are quarterbacks that have going after that. But you asked me my GM drafting philosophy. My philosophy would be if I'm not going to draft this quarterback in the top 3 picks, let him slide to the 3rd round because there's a lot more impactful positions that I would rather get.
Yeah, but if you get all right, I'll give you an example. That philosophy could be done, but I'll give you an example. The Jets. They had a Super Bowl winning team with a terrible quarterback. So even if you get all the guys around,
who was that quarterback? Hold on, who was that quarterback?
Zach Wilson.
Hold on. Keep going back. Who told you that there was a high probability that Zach Wilson was going to be a bust before that draft?
You did.
I'm trying to tell you, so I wouldn't have drafted. He's got too many moves. I would have drafted Zach Wilson in the 3rd round.
Of course, we know that. But my point to you is, you're saying to bypass the quarterbacks that you might want to get that are hot quarterbacks in the 1st round to build up a team. Okay, so you build up a team. You use all those draft picks to get a great team, and you don't have a quarterback. You're not going to be good anyway. Zach Wilson is the typical example of that. We had the greatest players at every position almost, and we couldn't win because Zach Wilson was terrible. And by the way, we had a Super Bowl defense and a Division II offense. So all I'm saying is, you got to take a chance at some point. You're basing it on what if you don't pick the right quarterback. I'm basing it on you could find the right quarterback in the draft. That's all I'm saying. You could find him.
You could, but just keep in mind of these, what percentage? Like it's like 10% of these quarterbacks that are going to be even good, right, even with all this hype. I mean, they're hyping them up right now because the draft.
What we should do is one day do a show on all the quarterbacks drafted out of the top 5. And see how many of them are good.
We're gonna move forward. Oh, actually, I messed up a little bit. I got a little ahead of myself. So first of all, I just want to say, brother, you don't need a haircut. You look good right now. I just want you to know. And I got thrown off. You told me before this that you needed a haircut, and I'm seeing a guy that looks good. I'm seeing a man that looks real good. So I got thrown off.
I got dye my hair.
So what I should have done. Let's go back to Denver and let's talk about what they need in the draft to propel themselves. It's supposed to be what they did and then the draft, and I got ahead of myself. So let's jump back to Denver real quick. What does Denver need to make a leap in this season for success?
I mean, listen, their top draft needs a cornerback. I don't like their receivers, and I don't like their quarterback. So I mean, I think we talked about it and saying that they need to do something. I mean, the fact that they moved up to number 4 tells me that their draft needs a quarterback. That's what that tells me.
Okay. So in my opinion, I think Denver is a prime example of a team that needs to draft that needs to pull back. They need to sell. They shouldn't be moving up. They should have been moving back and stockpiling picks to get more picks for this roster that we have to develop a new culture with, you know.
But we're going to go back to the same argument again. So you get.
I understand that, and we're going to speak on
Stephen as your quarterback.
I understand that.
I understand that. You're going to be in the same spot you are.
I understand that. What they should have done,
and then you got to bring a new quarterback in the next year that you think is the right quarterback, and you got to develop him. So now you're 2 years behind. Why not start a year early?
Because if you get what I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right. We are going around and around on this topic.
I mean,
what I'm saying is if you pick the wrong one, you're setting your franchise back 5 years. You're talking about 2, and I'm saying it's going to set you back 5 years because you got to get the information to say this ain't the guy. Right. After
but
giving
in your
all
same
of this
philosophy, if you pick the guy that you think is the quarterback and he doesn't turn out to be that quarterback, then you're going to set yourself back 5 years anyway. 1 year later.
Not necessarily. Not if you get the guy. If you get the guy, hold on. If you get the guy, then
you're not going to get the guy at 7 or 13.
You
or
said
12.
Josh Allen. You brought up.
I'm saying I believe you might be.
You brought up Josh. Hold on.
I believe that you should take a chance. I'm not saying that he will be.
You brought up Josh Allen, and it was a great place to pick it up. I just
so then why can't you? So, but my point is, why not go and get the quarterback that you think can help your team? That's a good quarterback. You say the quarterback.
If under that
what
philosophy,
does that mean?
Under that philosophy, if you really honestly believe that this was the guy, I agree. But but you know, just like I know, these teams are just drafting a guy to fill the position.
Yeah, because they're looking for their future. They're looking for the future franchise quarterback. That's what they're looking for.
Well, watch this. Watch this analogy. You ready for this? And you know I'm about to go in right now. Quarterback is basically like the pretty girl. The pretty girl is the girl you want to date. You love her. You like, listen, that girl right there, she is fine. You feel me? But if that girl ain't worth nothing, your life is just going to be harder because you have. And I'm saying if you're just getting a quarterback, that's the pretty girl, then okay, but you're gonna have to deal with pretty girl problems. If you get
Right.
if you get the right quarterback, I'm saying that is what you do. So no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm
Now,
saying I'm agreeing
how
with
do you
you.
determine who's the right quarterback? How do you determine who's the quarterback, not just a quarterback? How do you determine that?
That's the job of that's the GM's job. So
Right.
so
And
so
if the
so when, so when
GM
you so
says
when
that
you
this
say when you
guy
say that,
at number 4 is the right guy for us, then to them he's the quarterback. But you don't know. You don't know if he is or not.
I mean, look how
All
many
I'm saying is
times.
if you wait until next year, you use all your picks, move down, get a bunch of picks, get a great team, then next year you're going to be in the same position picking at the same spot. Is this the right B quarterback?
Okay.
You don't know who's coming out next year. You don't know what quarterbacks are coming out. These quarterbacks seem pretty good. I don't know. I mean,
Okay, so let
quarterback
me ask you.
is
Let me ask you this question. So let's move on because I want to go on to the
good.
Raiders. I want to go on to the Raiders as well. So what should the Raiders do? If this is everything that you're saying, what should the Raiders do? We talked about the Broncos. So
They
now
pick
what
at
should the Raiders
13.
do?
They pick at 13. I mean, you can run with Gardner Minshew. He's proven to be able to start. I mean, he's been the starter in this league. What they look like they're doing is they're building up. They're trying to fill the void of running back. Okay, and I don't think that they should get a quarterback. I think Gardner Minshew is probably going to be the guy. I guess because they got rid of Garoppolo for a reason and brought Minshew in. So what does that mean? Garoppolo, I think, was a better quarterback. I mean, the guy went to the Super
Yeah,
Bowl, but
absolutely,
he
is a
just
better
hasn't.
quarterback than Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he just hasn't worked out in Vegas. So you bring in Gardner Minshew. Are they going for a quarterback? Maybe they go get Michael Penix. I don't know. I mean, I listen. You can't win without a quarterback, and you can't get it. And you can't win
You
without a
can't win
quarterback.
without a good quarterback. Rephrase that. You can't win
Right,
without
right.
a good quarterback.
You can't win without a good quarterback.
Or
And
for your Jets instance, have one of the greatest rosters of all time.
yes, and that's my whole point. The Jets are a typical example of the philosophy you want.
I
Get all
agree.
the picks and get all the good guys, and to have a sucking quarterback, and you're garbage,
But
regardless.
listen in that scenario of the downside of how I think
Right.
you
That's
still
the
might go
downside
to
of your
that.
stuff. The
You
Jets are the
might still
downside of your
hold
philosophy,
on.
friend.
There's still a high probability of you probably going to the AFC Championship game like you did and beating what you say Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in the same playoffs and stuff like that. That didn't happen because of him. It happened because you had a roster and it was like, all right, well, this is the best we could do at the
You're
quarterback
true. Yeah,
position.
and listen, we've got a bunch of
That's what I'm
quarterbacks that
saying.
won Super Bowls that weren't great quarterbacks, but they had great teams. Right? I get it. It
Okay.
doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I mean, I give you that.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll take it.
All right, who you going for next?
I'll take what I can get from you. Okay. So next, let's go to the Chargers.
Chargers.
Okay. So the
These
Chargers,
guys
of course,
underachievers.
they lost Mike Williams. They lost
Right,
what's that?
Jets baby.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. They got. I'm trying to look at their names. They really didn't get anybody. They got AJ Zuminda. I can't think of. I
They
cannot.
got. I'll tell you who they got. They got Hayden Hurst, the quarterback. I mean, a tight end, because Gerald Everett left.
They got
They
Keenan
also got.
Allen.
Yeah, they also got. Yeah, you're right. They also got Gus Edwards, running back from the
No, excuse me.
Baltimore
They lost
Ravens.
Keenan Allen. Excuse me. They lost Keenan Allen. I apologize.
Keenan Allen. They
They
did.
lost. They lost. Yeah, he's in the Bears now.
Oh, that's right. Oh, right. So they're going to draft Marvin Harrison. Trust me. They're going for
He's
Marvin
not going to
Harrison.
be there. He's not going to be there.
They picked number 5.
He's not going to be there.
They picked number 5. That's what they're saying is the mock draft. Marvin Harrison is going to the Chargers.
Oh, you did say that you think that they moved up.
No.
Because that means because you said the Raiders moved up.
No,
That would mean
Broncos.
that would mean that the Cardinals
Broncos
traded their
moved
pick.
up.
The Broncos moved up. Excuse me. That would mean that they traded with the Arizona Cardinals.
Right, because the Cardinals got 2 picks in the first round.
Well, now they got more, but that would mean that they traded with the Cardinals, who had the number 4 pick.
Hold on, let me look.
All right, keep talking. So actually, while you're looking that up, I'll say my what I think about the.
Oh no, you're right. Cardinals picked 4. So they moved up to.
So the Broncos didn't move up then.
All right, you know what? I'll check that.
Okay.
I thought that they moved up.
In what is there? He's not going to be there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to be there. The
All right.
Arizona Cardinals are the team that is looked at to be the team that's going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. So in terms of the Chargers, I do think of okay, so they're rolling over into a new regime as well, a new culture. We're bringing in what's my man's name? Harbaugh. When bringing in Harbaugh from Michigan and everything like that, they're rolling over a new regime and everything like that. I was quiet on this, and now I'm a lot more vocal about this. I definitely feel as though Justin Herbert has underachieved for the talent that he has. He's been to the playoffs one time, and he also lost a 29-point lead in said playoff game. So he's only been to the playoffs one time and he lost. I think for all the hype of him being a top 5 quarterback, I have major questions about him coming into this season. He's never sniffed of owning the AFC West. And I
You talking about Herbert?
Yes, I'm talking about Justin Herbert right now. And I don't know, and now they're losing the weapons that they had. The defense is going to be pretty much intact, but they're losing both of their top 2 wide receivers from last year. And I think this is going to be a rough year for the Chargers, to be honest with you.
Okay, I think it is, and I made a mistake. They picked number 5.
Who?
Chargers.
We knew that. The question was
they picked number 5
if the Broncos moved up.
Right. No, right. So, all right, that was my mistake. But the Chargers are going to draft. They say the Chargers are going to draft Marvin Harrison after losing Keenan Allen. That's what, and
he's not going to be there. I'm telling you, he's not going to be there. If Arizona's there for Marvin Harrison Jr. is not.
Oh, right. He's just saying Marvin Harrison. Okay, fair enough. But that's what they're saying. I will say this: Justin Herbert. I kind of liked him a lot, and he had they had an outstanding offense, especially with my man Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen, and they just could not seem to do it. Now, granted, they are in the division with the Kansas City Chiefs, so but I don't know. I mean, I don't think they were 5-12 last 5-12. Think about that. That's not very good. So we'll see. If Chargers don't pick Marvin Harrison, they're going to get Malik Nabers from LSU. Because right now I'm looking at a mock draft here that shows Arizona's going to pick Malik Nabers from LSU, the wide receiver, and then Marvin Harrison goes to the Chargers.
Okay, so he's good. So the Chargers are going to get a weapon. What you're saying? The Chargers
either way, they're going to flip. They might flip it either way, but they're going to get a wide receiver. They have to get a wide receiver. They have to.
Okay, so I'll even say this about so even going into what you feel like the Chargers should do in their draft, you're saying draft that wide receiver.
Yes, draft a wide receiver. I think they should, and they picked up Gus Edwards from Baltimore, which he's not. Listen, in on the goal line, he's
Gus
awesome.
Bus.
Yes, he's awesome on the goal line, so that might help. But
we'll see.
We'll see. I don't think they're making the playoffs at all. Listen, the AFC West is going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a big mess. And let me tell you, last year or the year before, I can't remember, the year before last year, they were trying to predict that all 4 teams in the AFC West were going to make it in the playoffs, and only one of them made, or 1 or 2 made. That was it.
No, it was only one.
It was only one. Yeah, it was only one. Yeah, and it's just been when Russell Wilson came to the final, like, oh, Denver's going to win the division. Oh, this and that.
And I was one of those. I just want to be fair because I say a lot of shit too. I was one of those too. So make that clear.
And let me tell you something. And Kansas City wasn't playing that great at the beginning of the season. They looked a little, whatever. But as the cream always rises to the top. And I'm very disappointed in the Los Angeles Chargers. I thought they should be better. I thought Justin Herbert is a legitimate quarterback. Another one, I don't know where he was drafted, but he could be, he went to a really good team. And, he's been done, but they've underachieved. They've just underachieved. And it's,
right.
They're not going to do anything anymore. They're not going to do anything.
So, so I think the best thing that Harbaugh probably will instill is a more physical running game, and I think which is one of my points about what a quarterback needs. People always say you need wide receivers for a quarterback, and I disagree. I think you need a running back and a running game and a tight end to really help a quarterback move along. Like if we learned one thing from last year with Patrick Mahomes, it looked like he was struggling all year. The wide receivers really weren't there. What did we learn? It didn't matter. Right. So
that's because of Patrick Mahomes, though.
But I think they're looking at this and saying, well, if we don't have Patrick Mahomes, we got the second best. Yeah, I mean,
Let,
or
let
the
me
next
let,
best thing.
let me tell you something. It was like a Saquon Barkley. He did everything. I had Auckland Eckler in my fantasy for 4 years. That guy did everything, and that is the kind of player that makes a quarterback makes a quarterback's life easier. Ask Daniel Jones, ask Justin Herbert. Austin Eckler was a man, and losing that guy is a big problem for them. Just like with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was the Giants' offense, and that made Daniel Jones better. So all I'm saying is they lost that. Justin Herbert's in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. So we pretty much talked about their draft, and we both kind of agree they do need a wide receiver. So Malik Neighbors
Mm-hmm.
or
Oh, and they also got running back Joshua Kelly too.
okay,
They
cool,
resigned or
cool, cool,
resigned.
cool.
He was a backup. They resigned him. So
Okay, cool. So right now we're gonna move on over to the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs.
yes,
So
sir.
they didn't do too much in terms of bringing in too many people. Actually, they have I don't think they've made one move, but they did re-sign Chris Jones, um, which was a big situation.
I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But go ahead.
Okay. But they did lose L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans, and I'd have to admit, I'd have to think that that meant that they weren't going to be able to match what it is that he wanted to do. They also brought in Carson Wentz, and you know how I'm still so mad about Carson Wentz
I
for
was waiting for you to say that.
how dare you be like that if you're going to come into Indy, but whatever. So yeah, so they
Carson
basically do
Wentz.
that, and also it's looking like Rashee Rice. It looks like he's not going to be there next year
I
either.
was getting ready to say you go
Uh,
ahead. I wrote down some stuff about these
okay, all right.
guys.
Well, I'll just go first because I think you're going to have
Good.
more to say. Um, the moves I definitely feel as though even coming into this year, they're going to have a lot of continuity coming from last year. I definitely feel as though they have some places they got to hit in the draft. However, and this is a big thing. This is the best thing I can say about them. The things that they need in this draft, I think, are at a premium. So I think that I could definitely see the Kansas City Chiefs walking away with like two wide receivers and two cornerbacks in this draft. I could see that happening because this draft is deep with wide receivers and cornerbacks.
Right.
So
And
yeah, so that's basically what I think about them. But they did a lot of things to bring back continuity to a Super Bowl winning team. They didn't lose a whole bunch of players from a Super Bowl winning roster. I think that usually, when you talk about a Super Bowl winning team, you usually lose all your players because everybody wants the Super Bowl winning players. So they didn't lose a lot of those players. Um, they definitely have some holes that they have to fill, and I think that in this draft, it kind of lined up pretty well for them to do so. Continue.
yeah, I thought I saw that they moved up from 32 to 17. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm trying to see that now. And I thought if that is true, I thought that the reason why was because they wanted to go get somebody, but I can't find. All right, anyway. First of all, you're going to hear it here first. Kansas City, the two-time defending Super Bowl champs, will win a third Super Bowl in a row for one
But I tried
reason
to tell you that last
and
year. I
one
tried to tell you that was
reason
coming.
only. Listen, for one reason and one reason only. They signed defensive tackle Chris Jones.
I
That is
tried to
it.
tell
That was
you.
it. That's all they needed to do. And I'm going to tell you, the fact that Kansas City won the Super Bowl, they've lost so many receivers in the last 2 years, notably Tyreek Hill, Scanlon, McCall Hardman, all these guys. They've lost a lot of receivers. Okay, they don't have a real running game. Although, shout out to my guy Isaiah Pacheco, Rutgers University.
He's
Yes,
actually from Jersey, so he went
I
to
know, I know.
Violin. So just let you know, he went to Violin High School where I played. We played violin all the time.
And he went to my alma mater, Rutgers University. So I will say this: the fact that they won that Super Bowl in a year that looked like they should not have won. That there were other teams like
Mhm,
Baltimore should have
mhm.
taken Buffalo. This was Buffalo's chance, and they still couldn't do it. And I told you this. I said that was the year that they could have made a statement. Other teams could have made a statement to knock Kansas City off their perch. The fact that he won, I'm gonna tell you right now. Josh Allen, uh, 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 Baltimore,
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. y'all are on notice, Jack, because this boy is no joke. And the fact that they signed Chris Jones. Now, I think they moved up. I believe they moved. I can't prove that, but if they did move up, they're going for a wide receiver. Their draft need is Xavier Worthy, wide receiver out of Texas. If they can get a legitimate wide receiver, and depending on what this Rashee Rice situation is, I'm gonna tell you, Rashee Rice saved that team as far as giving.
Yes, he did. Yes,
giving Patrick Mahomes another option other than Travis Kelce. Because you notice that Kelce fell off a little bit because they were double teaming him a lot, but he picked it up. So they're gonna go try and get another wide receiver. And I will tell you right now, I predict they will win a third Super Bowl in a row because of Patrick Mahomes. You can't count them out. And Andy Reid, those two right there, that combination.
So
the fact that they won last year,
the one thing
really tells.
The one thing that I said at the conclusion of last season, you know how I feel about Peyton Manning, and you've also heard me say I think Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady. I don't. I think we should greatest. When we have a conversation of greatest, I think greatest means, hey, I was at the top 5, or my argument for top 5 of all time was for the longest period of time. Tom Brady has that honor, but I also always felt like Peyton Manning was better than him. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Period.
All right, and you and I have had this conversation, and Peyton Manning, I love Peyton Manning. I mean, what he did, and the funny thing is, he started out awful in his career. You know what I mean? He didn't listen. The Jets beat a 43-zip in the playoff one time. He was not that great, but you just saw him just rise up to be a great quarterback. He won Super Bowls on 2 different teams. He went to Super Bowl twice with 2 different teams, right? I mean, he's that good. But
yes, he did.
I will tell you this. Patrick Mahomes, right now, right now, he's in the consideration top 5 quarterback. I'm sorry, man.
I think he's the best. I don't think we've ever seen anything like
that he set in his first 2 years in the league. None of these other quarterbacks did that. The fact that he's got 3 Super Bowls, he's got 3, right? Yeah, three Super Bowls.
3 rings. He's got 3 rings.
He's got 3 rings, and he's only been in the league, what, 7 years?
He's been in the league 6 years,
right?
No, 7. No, he has been in 7, but he started for 6. And in those 6 years, he's going to 6 AFC Championship games,
and 4 Super Bowls.
4 Super Bowls and won 3 of them.
Yep. That
you've
right
never
there,
seen that.
Right,
so
right
even Teddy, even Teddy Bruschi said for Tom Brady's first 6 years, he was carried by Teddy Bruschi said that his Tom Brady's teammate. So we've never seen, like, there could be an elevation for where Patrick Mahomes goes. That's like, oh, he can make a Tom Brady leap where he's now being carried to being like the greatest of all time. He ain't even entered into the situation where he could make the point, and he's already made it the point.
That's what I'm saying. Amazing. That guy is amazing. And I'm gonna tell you. And you know, he's doing it not with
we got about 30 seconds.
Superstars. Not with Hall of Famers. Travis Kelce, obviously. Mm-hmm. But think about all the other guys on his team. Ain't nobody making Pro Bowls. Ain't nobody making the Hall of Fame. And he's doing it like
Tyreek Hill.
I give Tom Brady that credit too. He did it with a lot of no-name guys, or not a lot of big-name guys. Randy Moss, and they didn't win the Super Bowl with Randy Moss, and Gronk. Other than that, who else? Who else? But I will tell you right now, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, welcome back to Cuz You Don't Know Football. Derek came through in the first half of this with some heat.
Hey, you know how it goes. You know how we do. Me and you argue all the time about sports. So.
Listen. In this family, when you got like maybe the most talented family outside of the Jacksons, you feel me? Like you
listen. When you got people like me and you that think we know everything, it's always going to be a discussion.
I don't think I know everything.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. When we think we know everything, it's always going to be a discussion. That's all right. That's what I like. That's what I like.
I just want to put it into my beautiful following. I do not think I know everything. Okay. All right. So now we're going to the NFC West. So I figure, staying on par. Let's go to the bottom of the AFC West. Let's go to them Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I did make a mistake. They did not move up to 4. Broncos did not move up to 4. They are picking at 12. It was I looked up when I was looking up stuff. It was a proposed like swap. So no, the Arizona's picking at 4 and Broncos are picking at 12. Arizona, go ahead.
So yeah, so okay, so basically everything that we said was right on par.
Yeah.
So we got the Chargers and the Cardinals probably both picking wide receivers at 4 and 5.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that Malik Neighbors has moved up past Marvin Harrison, which is pretty interesting.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't.
I mean,
I could break that down if you want to hear it for 2 seconds. I could break that down before we go to the next.
I mean, go ahead. I mean, yeah.
So Marvin Harrison Jr. is a better route runner. He's a better what you call it? When he has contested catches, he's better at that. I'm not going to say better catcher of the ball. You know, I mean, I think we can do that, but like those things you could tell. Malik Neighbors is better at after the catch. So when we're having a conversation of who's better at getting open, Marvin Harrison Jr. is better at getting open. Malik Neighbors, once the ball is actually in his hands, he is scary at that point.
But doesn't a lot of it have to do with after the combine?
But that's the problem. First of all, that's not a valid, and that's
no, I know, but I mean after the combine, then that's when these guys' draft stock goes up or down. I mean, I don't listen. I think they're both good. They both played with
what we saw on tape.
Good quarterbacks. So
what we saw on tape.
You know what it is? It's Justin Jefferson and Ja'Marr Chase.
Like I'll say this for the person who has more skills devoted to the skill set that is that is transferable to success in a certain position. If that person is faster and jumps higher, then yes, that would help that person. But if the person that it does not have that in that draft does not have the best of those abilities in that draft, the fact that they're faster, jump higher, or anything like that, I don't think that should move them up in the draft. I think that's the problem with the
no,
draft.
it doesn't necessarily, but you also got to look at who in college were they being thrown to, from. Who's their quarterback, number one, and who's their quarterback going to be in the pros?
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert.
Okay. All right, cool.
If I had to guess, I mean, Kyler Murray's good, but I like Justin Herbert as a passer. Oh, and just on a side note, Kansas City also signed Marquise Brown for a 1-year deal.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Let me tell you, that boy is fast. Let me tell you.
All right, cool. So
I just want to say that
talking about
got another
that's actually a pretty good bridge because the team that he came from, the Arizona Cardinals, is who we're talking about now. So Arizona did a lot of re-signing the players that they had. They also signed Desmond Ridder from the Falcons, and they also lost Rondale Moore to the Falcons, and they also lost, of course, Hollywood Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, so them resigning all their players and things of that nature. What do you feel about where this leaves the Cardinals, knowing that they still have Kyler Murray in house?
I think they're going to be in the last. They're going to be in the bottom of the division again. I don't know. I'm not feeling Arizona. I'm not feeling Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray, but I know he was hurt last year.
But you used to love Kyler.
I did, but he had the talent. I mean, John Brown, when he had John Brown, I mean, he had the talent. They brought in Connors. I just don't see where they're moving the needle. They've regressed. He had that one good year when they went to the playoffs, got smoked. He was good, but I just don't see him progressing. Just like Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, he's on the precipice of being good, but
which ironically, can I bring this up real quick? Which ironically, in season 1, because football was a very controversial conversation because I was very slow on both of them, and you were like, "These are the guys." So it's very interesting. It's very interesting that now
you're right, and they have regressed, and I don't know why necessarily. I do know that the Cardinals do have the number 4 pick and the 27 pick in the first round. They were 4-13 last year. They're in a tough division. I mean, listen, they're in a tough division. Two of the teams I think all 3 teams made it to the playoffs: San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams. Right?
Seattle did not make the playoffs last year.
They didn't. Okay, but the Rams did.
The Rams did.
They were 10-7. Yeah,
the Rams did.
Seattle was right there. They were 9-8. I mean,
Yes, they were right there.
they were right there, but that's a tough division. From 4-13 to the next team at 9-8, I don't see the Arizona Cardinals doing anything this year. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the status is going to be with Kyler Murray. Is he? I know they signed him. I think they signed him. Did they sign him to a long-term deal, or is he still under his rookie contract?
Who? Kyler?
Kyler Murray.
Now he signed to a long-term deal.
Yeah, he signed a long-term deal. So, they're basically stuck with him. I have to see him healthy. I have to see him. I want to see him improve this year. You know what I mean? I want to see him improve and stay healthy.
So
there wasn't really much to talk about with the Cardinals.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. So I actually tend to agree with everything you're saying right now. So we should. I want to just give my take in terms of their draft and what I would do. Ironically, you had mentioned, even though you said it wasn't, it was a proposed trade as opposed, then them actually moving back in the draft. I think they absolutely should do that. I think wide receiver is a position in the NFL that's overvalued. So I like, you know what I mean? So I think actually they need to stop. I think they have so many other needs on their roster, not that I think, like, you know what I mean? Like edge rusher, cornerback, defensive line, interior offensive line, offensive tackle, running back. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's so many other ways that you could help Kyler Murray out more than just drafting a sensational wide receiver that I would actually look at. If I was the Cardinals, I would be looking at trading back, getting more picks, and filling out more of this roster to support Kyler Murray more.
You are always a person that doesn't want to pick high. You always want to trade back and build a team. I get it. They do have 2 picks in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So why not freaking use that number 4 pick to get a receiver, and then the 27 pick to get an offensive tackle or
I'll give you that answer if you're ready.
I mean, listen, they got 2 picks in the first round.
I'll give you that answer if you're ready.
Yeah.
Because they would still have 2 picks in the first round, except they would have more second and third round picks, or second, third, and fourth round picks in order to give up. In order to give up that pick. So I'm still just saying, like in the fourth round, for instance, you could get a guard in the fourth round that can come in and start for you. You can get a middle linebacker in the fourth round to come in and start for you. You can, but what you can't get in the fourth round, or you can even get a wide receiver that's good enough in the fourth round. That's happened a lot of times. But what you can't get in the first round is a pick that's not going to that's not going to work out. I think that's the only failure.
Say that again. You could get a pick in the first round that's not going to work out.
You cannot. Like your first round picks need to hit. Like GMs drafting first round picks that don't hit is why GMs get fired.
Okay, but if they go for Marvin Harrison in the 4th pick, you don't think that that's a hit and that's a good match for Kyler Murray? I mean, you don't think Kyler Murray's going to?
Yes, it is.
It is. The problem, but see, the difference between wide receivers and quarterbacks is quarterbacks have to develop. We know quarterbacks are not going to come in and be an immediate hit. They're going to take their lumps. Wide receivers can come in year 1 and be impactful. That's why you have to take a wide receiver in the 4th pick.
So my point there was more about the over evaluating of wide receivers. So let me go into a little bit further.
I don't agree with you.
Okay,
I think most wide receivers that have been picked in the top 10 have been good. Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. They've been studs first year out.
Absolutely.
So I think your philosophy on going back on quarterbacks, maybe, but wide receivers, no. Take those wide receivers.
Now hear this. My point on the wide receivers is there's no core. I speak from a place of let's try to win a Super Bowl. That's the only place that I'm coming from. Okay, not let's try to sell tickets. Not let's make the playoffs. Not let's eventually at the end of this, let's try to get a Super Bowl out of it. There's no evidence that says you having a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL get you a Super Bowl, and there's no evidence that supports having a top 5 wide receiver core in the NFL get you a Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying about overvaluating the position.
Who's won the Super Bowls of the last years? I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, but let me ask you a question.
The Chiefs, the Patriots,
but let me
the Seahawks.
Right, but let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Having a wide receiver can get you to the Super Bowl. It may not
There's no
necessarily make
evidence
you
of it.
win
Hold on,
the
wait,
Super Bowl.
hold on. Let
You
me
know,
just make a correction. So I'm talking about all time. You have Jerry Rice, you have Michael Irvin, Lynn Swan. Debatably, if you really wanted to put to it, Marvin Harrison and Cooper Kupp, if you really wanted to try very hard. Outside of that, there's zero top five while they went to Super Bowl at that time. Top five wide receivers that won the Super Bowl. No, I'm lying. You got T.O. as well. T.O. with the Eagles that 1 year got to the Super Bowl. The point that I'm making is there's far more teams that did not have a very good wide receiver core that won a Super Bowl than teams that have even entered the Super Bowl with a top five wide receiver or top five wide receiver led group. That's my point about overvaluating wide receivers. You see, because wide receivers need a lot more things to go right for them to be who they are. So a wide receiver needs a quarterback to get them the ball. They need a quarterback that's good enough to get them the ball. They also need an offensive line that allows them time to get open.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
That's all I'm saying.
I will say this. I understand your point as far as not necessarily needing a top wide receiver, but I don't think you make it to the Super Bowl without good receivers. You understand? Like, I don't think you make it to the Super Bowl. Huh?
Kansas City Chiefs did it last year.
All right, now let me go back. Yes, they did it last year, but Rashee Rice actually played pretty well. Who was the guy? Kadarius Toney. He was the guy that kept dropping the passes.
Yes,
he actually played well in the playoffs.
But is he even a top 30 wide receiver?
No, he's not. But what I'm saying is you're still going to need receivers. You can't have, receivers that are not good or not impactful and be a good. Listen, you won't make it. You won't make it to the Super Bowl.
I have a call from one of my cousins on my mother's side, so I'm just going to say hello. Hello, Joy.
Hi, Tariq.
Hi, I just wanted you to know I'm just filming my podcast right now. So can I call you as soon as I'm finished filming this podcast? But you're on the podcast right now.
Just you really have to take that.
You can say hello.
Hi,
hello.
I love you, baby. Let me call you after I'm done, okay?
Love you too. All right, bye.
All right. I just want you to know there's a lot of love being shared here on Cuz You Know Football.
Really? I mean, come on, man. I was in the middle of a great point and you had to pick up a call. All right, whatever. This is your show. Anyway, what I will say is this. I would definitely take Marvin Harrison or Malik Nabers. You gotta have wide receivers. And I understand what you're saying to a point, but you gotta understand, a lot of those teams that won Super Bowls also had great tight ends, right? Gronk, Travis Kelce. But if you look at Philadelphia, they made it to the Super Bowl. AJ Brown is
a top 5 wide receiver, and
is a beast.
He's a top 5 wide receiver, and they lost.
Right. But my point is, Arizona's got nobody. Who do they have as far as receivers go? You got to start somewhere.
The only thing that I'm saying is there's better ways to protect a quarterback more than getting him wide receivers. There's position groups that translate more to, this actually helps a quarterback figure it out than wide receiver. That's all I'm saying.
Kyler Murray wants to throw to Marvin Harrison or Malik Nabers. Come on.
I think
does.
So I'm gonna answer your question. I think Kyler Murray would rather have time to throw the ball. I think offensive line would be a bigger addition. Hold on, wait. I think that tight end would help Kyler Murray out more because he could block and have a versatile situation for running the ball, which would help Kyler Murray out more. I think a pass rusher would help Kyler Murray out more than a wide receiver. That's all I'm saying. There's just other situations.
What you're saying is, I understand what you're saying, but every team needs those positions. Every team wants to have those positions. Nobody's locked down on edge rusher, corner, safety, linebacker. Nobody's locked down on those. Every team needs that. You got to have good players at skill positions. I don't care what you think. You got to have a good tight end. You got to have a good wide receiver, and you got to have a good running back and quarterback. Period. Now, I don't care who you get on the offensive line, the defensive line, it doesn't matter. If you don't have the skilled players at the skill positions, you're not going to win. So that's why did you see Kyler Murray when he had that one good year when they went 10-7 or whatever they went, or 10-6 or whatever, and they went to the playoffs? John Brown was beating guys. He was throwing 60-yard bombs to John Brown. John Brown was roasting those guys. I'm telling you, you gotta have somebody that can stretch the field. So I disagree. They need to go get this guy, and Kyler Murray needs to be thrown to somebody, or else forget it. They're not, because I don't know who their receivers are.
Fair
and
enough.
they ain't gonna be that good.
Fair enough.
Plus they got the 27th pick.
Okay.
And like you said, you can get all these other guys in the other rounds. So then go ahead and build your team around the second and third round guys. I don't care. Get that receiver. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Enjoy that. That's fine.
What's the next team?
So the next team is the Seattle Seahawks. So Seattle, I'm trying to think in terms of names. Well,
they picked number 16 and they were 9-8 last
year. So hold on. They signed Sam Howell to be their backup. That's cool. Jerome Baker's actually he's an okay middle outside linebacker.
I'm gonna tell you
they signed. Hold on, they signed Jonathan Hankins as a defensive tackle. He'll be a pretty good addition to them.
They signed who else?
And that's basically it. They
signed two guys. They re-signed Leonard Williams. They kept him.
They kept him, but then they signed
and
Jonathan.
Noah Fant, the tight end. But guess who they lost? They lost Bobby Wagner.
All right, so this even goes back.
I know what you're going to say. So go ahead.
So middle linebacker is another position group that. So what today? So what? You don't have the best middle linebacker today. It's not the same. It's not the same NFL, bro.
No way.
It's not the same NFL.
Middle linebackers lead the team in tackles, man. They're the most important. Yes, they do.
No.
Yes, they do.
They don't. Like
CJ Mosley.
Name me. Hold on. Name me a team that's won the Super Bowl with a middle linebacker. They had a top 5 middle linebacker. Name me this team.
What do you mean?
Name me a team that has won the Super Bowl and they had a top 5 middle linebacker.
Well, who's won the Super Bowl?
The Chiefs, the Patriots, the Seahawks.
All right, but I tell you what, they've gone. The top middle linebackers have gone far, and they are the anchor of the defense. And if you got a good defense, you will make it at least in the playoffs and possibly the Super Bowl. CJ Mosley on the Jets, he anchors that defense because that boy is something else. The Greenlaw from San Francisco, we'll talk about them. I mean, Greenlaw, San Francisco, and
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner, right. But I mean, middle linebacker, I mean, there might be 2 inside, middle, whatever. It depends on what they play. But I mean, linebackers are key. CJ Mosley and the other linebacker for the Jets, those guys were beasts, man. They were beasts, and they lead the team in tackles. Listen, you mean to tell me most good middle linebackers, lead their team in tackles? You don't think that is important? Are you kidding me? If you're
other positions that are more important.
Listen, if your middle linebacker is not leading your team in tackles, that means your safeties are making tackles, and you don't want that. That means that guys are running.
Or your defensive line is making tackles, and
but defensive linemen never lead a team in tackles, never, ever, because the guys, most running backs, pass the line of scrimmage.
Chris Jones did.
No, Chris Jones did not lead the team in tackles, man. Get out of here. No way.
Chris Jones led that team in tackles and sacks. So you kidding me? Chris Jones is a monster.
No way. We gotta look that up. Because listen, if you throw 40 times a game, Chris Jones ain't tackling that play. There's no way. All I'm saying is your middle linebacker.
You think? Hold on. You think George Karlaftis led that team in sacks?
Who?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
He would be their next best pass rusher.
He's their next best pass. No, but
outside of Chris Jones.
I'm talking about linebackers. Linebackers are the key to stopping the run game, and they do coverage down the field. All I'm saying is, if your middle linebacker is not leading your team in tackles, your defense is not that good. I'm sorry. Middle linebackers are the key. They are the key.
I agree that you need good ones. I'm not disagreeing. You need good ones. I'm saying you don't need great middle linebackers to win a Super Bowl or get there.
If you don't have a great middle linebacker, that means that you're getting run on ridiculously because not all defensive linemen can make the tackle. You know what I'm
So
saying?
does Kansas City have a great middle linebacker?
They've got good middle linebackers.
You agree with me.
No,
Don't you agree? Listen,
listen.
no, you stop right now. You agreed with me
Listen,
and told me I was wrong.
I
in the same
agreed
sentence.
with you that a lot of the Super Bowl teams may not have great middle linebackers, top 5 middle linebackers,
And
Super Bowl winners. But I'm talking about teams that have good defenses that make it to the Super Bowl, that go deep into the playoffs. I mean, and all I'm saying is there's a middle linebacker is the most important defensive player position on the field against the run. They do the run and the pass.
the only
That's
thing
it.
that I'm saying is the teams that have won these multiple Super Bowls or been to multiple Super Bowl appearances in the last 15 years are teams that did a better job of supporting their quarterback than having these players that were great at positions that didn't really matter. And I'm saying, and I'm giving you the Chiefs, I'm giving you the Patriots, I gave you Seattle. You know what I mean? Like these are teams that have been there multiple times. And I'm saying they didn't have a great middle linebacker. They didn't have great wide receivers.
But they had great defenses.
But they didn't have a great wide receiver.
Let's see.
A great cornerback makes
Tampa Bay won.
a great
Tampa Bay
cornerback
won
advances a
Tampa Bay
team.
won the World Series. I mean, the Super Bowl with Mike Evans. Kansas City won the Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill.
So with Tyreek Hill, they also lost when they didn't have any offense. Hold on, wait. I guess I'll let you get your point. Let me get my point across. Even with Tyreek Hill, when they didn't have a left tackle and a right tackle, it didn't matter.
Yes, you were right about that game.
And that is why Tampa Bay won that Super Bowl.
But it's not because of the wide receiver. It's because they didn't have the offense.
This is what I'm saying.
But
you agree
it's
with
because
me.
no, but wait a second. They did have the right tackle. They were hurt for the Super Bowl.
This is what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is, so let me ask you a question. If they did have those tackles in that game, Mahomes would have freaking threw all over the place and won that Super Bowl.
That would be what I would predict, yes.
And he wouldn't have won it without having guys like Tyreek Hill and deep wide receivers.
I'm saying it didn't matter. I'm saying it didn't matter, and he's proved
it didn't matter in that game. No, you're right. But they got him there. They got him to the Super Bowl. All I'm saying is they, you need to still have wide receivers. Well, we're not even talking about. We're talking about defense and middle linebackers. Listen, I believe most defenses are centered around your edge rusher. Your edge rusher can affect the game if you have a good defensive tackle like Aaron Donald and Chris Jones, right? Mm-hmm. And if you have a middle linebacker and a good strong safety, or
safety
strong
doesn't
safety
matter anymore.
Right. I mean, I maybe not, but I will say this: middle linebackers lead the team in tackles. Period.
Safeties and middle linebacker doesn't
good
matter
middle
anymore.
Linebackers lead your team in tackles. Middle linebackers and the linebackers are not making tackles. That means your safeties are making tackles, and you don't want that. So all I'm saying is, good middle linebackers can get you places, and they can anchor your defense. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. I appreciate your philosophy. I think it's a philosophy. Excuse me. It's a philosophy rooted in logic and watching the NFL over the years, and I respect.
And my point is, if a middle linebacker, most teams middle linebackers lead their team in tackles. Is that not the most important defensive position on the team?
I know. No, it's
leading the team in tackles.
Because you could be good and lead the team in tackles. It doesn't mean you're great.
Come on. It does mean you're good. If you've got 100,
it means you're good. I said
if you got 150 tackles in a season, that means that you're all over the place. That means you're stopping the run. I mean, technically you're stopping the run because technically, if the running back gets past the linebackers, the safety's got to make the tackles, which means that's longer game. All I'm saying is, defense. You have to have fast linebackers, and you have to have linebackers that tackle. Period. That's their job. Their job is to tackle. Period.
I hear what you're saying. But I'm saying if you have good, like, all right, let me ask you this. So the Colts have a linebacker, Zaire Franklin. He led us in tackles. Is he a great middle linebacker?
He's good.
I says he's great.
Oh, I don't think he's great. I don't know.
Okay, so that's my point.
He might be great. I don't know. How many tackles did he have?
Well, he made the Pro Bowl and he led
all right, so then he must be pretty great. I mean, how many great linebackers are there?
He's not a great middle linebacker. He's good.
If he made the Pro Bowl, he's great.
That's no,
Wait,
today.
you say great?
Are you telling? Hold on. Are you telling me today when anybody can like? First of all, the teams that are in the Super Bowl are no longer even in the Pro Bowl. You're telling me today when players basically are saying, "I'm not going to make this. I'm not going to play in the Pro Bowl because I don't want to risk injury, or there's no incentive to really even play in the Pro Bowl anymore." You telling me today that still means the same thing as playing in the Pro Bowl?
Hold on.
It doesn't.
Wait. I mean, was he picked first? Because you know what the Pro Bowl is, right? Pro Bowl is picked by the players, isn't it?
No, that's all pro.
Oh, it's all pro. Okay, I'm sorry. But if you make the Pro Bowl, that means that you're the best at your position.
No, it no longer means that. All
What do you
pro
mean?
means that. All pro means that.
Okay. But who picks
Pro
the
Bowl,
Pro?
Pro Bowl
Who
no
picks the
longer means
Pro?
that.
Forget the Pro Bowl. All pro. So you said he made the Pro Bowl. All right, forget the Pro Bowl.
He was
I
not
thought
an
you
all
meant-
pro, and he was not.
Oh,
an
okay,
all-pro.
all right. I thought you were meaning all pro when you said Pro Bowl. That's my mistake.
Fair enough.
So,
Okay.
all right, fine. But
All
if you
right,
make
so-
all pro, you're a good linebacker. Damn good. You're the best in the league.
Okay, and he was not an all pro, and he led, and that's
But my point is that if he led the team in tackles, he was doing his job, and he's a good linebacker. You're supposed to. Linebackers are supposed to. You know what I mean?
I got
If
you.
your
No, I hear what you're
safeties,
saying.
if your safeties are making more tackles than the linebackers, something's wrong.
All right.
Go
All
ahead.
right, cool. So Seattle, what do they need in the draft? What do they need in the draft
I don't
make
Seattle.
that-
I mean, listen, they're projected to take a Jared Verse edge rusher for Florida State, and I always I'm a Florida State fan, so I always look to see where Florida State players go. He's an edge rusher, following in the steps of the Jets edge rusher from Florida State.
Mhm.
I mean, every team needs everything. I mean, you know what I mean? What is the immediate need? I mean, their quarterback situation is pretty much locked up. Their wide receivers are decent. They did get
They have
the,
good wide
the tight
receivers.
end.
They have above average wide receivers.
Right. They got a good wide receiver. They did get a tight end, Noah Fant, who's decent. I mean, I like Noah Fant.
Mhm.
Their running back, I like that boy. What's his name? The third, I forgot his name.
Oh, Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker. I like him. I had him in my fantasy. But other than that, they probably need to get more depth on the defensive side. I mean, Bobby Wagner's always good, but is Jamal Adams still playing?
Is that a relevant even
I know,
question?
I
I don't
know.
care if he's playing
Yeah, I
anymore.
know. But
I
I'm just
don't
saying,
care.
Seattle Seattle's the middle of the road. They're going to be third in the division again.
So, just in conclusion, because we do have to move on time wise. I do think they should get a pass rusher. If they do not get said pass rusher, I would say they're a team that should also move back.
Right, and they're projected to get this guy Verse from Florida State. He's an edge.
All right. So we got to be very, very, very quick with this one. So I'm going to let you lead on this one. So the Rams are a next team up. So
Okay.
so the Rams, of course, Aaron Donald.
Yes, the
retired.
greatest defensive tackle ever. Go ahead.
He's retired. I don't know.
And just to let you know, my cousin Jordan Fuller, starting safety number 4 for the Rams, signed a free agent deal with Carolina Panthers. So good luck to him, my cousin Jordan Fuller.
Mm-hmm. They also signed, of course, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo. They were 10-7 last year, and they picked 19.
And they signed Tre'Davious White as well, the cornerback from the Buffalo Bills.
Right, and they picked 19, and they're supposed to be getting Quinion Mitchell from a cornerback from Toledo.
Okay, so what do the Rams need to do to compete this next upcoming year? So you saw what their moves were. It was more retaining, not really.
They retain. I mean, they were 10-7 last year.
Made the playoffs.
I mean, I'm not really sure, but yeah, I don't really know too much about the Rams. I do know this. If they were 10-7 last year, that means that they were decent. Stafford, I mean, listen, they're a former Super Bowl champ, right?
Mhm.
They've still got their receivers. This Nakua guy is really good. I'm not sure about I think losing Aaron Donald might be a big deal. You know what I mean? I think that might
Just
be a
might.
big deal. It might be a big deal to them. They may not make the playoffs. Who knows? But the division is so bad. They should. I mean, if they can repeat last year, I don't see them going very further than first round playoffs, if that.
Okay, so for me with them in the draft, because I like retention. I like continuity on a roster. I don't think they should try to replace Aaron Donald. I think if they get a defensive tackle, they failed because that defensive tackle is going to have expectations. But they're another team that needs to pass rush everything. I think having still Matthew Stafford allows them to still move in the direction that they currently are moving in. But I could see them drafting they need help all over that defensive line, and that's where I think they should go. Defensive end, defensive.
Well,
I don't think they should draft a defensive tackle in the first round, but defensive end, if they can get a pass rusher, or cornerback would be the move that I think. I think defensively,
they're projected to take Quinion Mitchell, from Toledo, cornerback. That's what they're projected to take with the 19th pick.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're right on with that they need a cornerback. To the West Coast, I don't pay attention to them. I don't pay attention to them too much, other than my cousin when he was on the team, and he was hurt most of the year last year. So
right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right, cool. Well, let's finish this up real quick with San Francisco. San Fran signed Rocky Ya-Sin. They Logan Ryan actually retired from football.
Did I see something about Greenlaw? I didn't see anything about him, right? He's still on there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Fred Warner's still there too, right?
Yes, they're both still there.
They signed Leonard Floyd from Buffalo.
And they signed Leonard Floyd. We'll see what that does, but it'll be.
Oh, by the way, I looked. They beefed up a lot of their signings with defense. I mean, a lot of defensive line, linebacker Devondre Campbell.
Brock Purdy's your quarterback. You need help defensively. You got to get some stops.
Let me tell you, but they already got a good defense. It's like between Greenlaw, Warner, Bosa. I mean, they got a good defense, man. Very good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Keep getting better on defense. And let's figure out how to help our quarterback and see before we have to pay him. So for me, in terms of that, I actually, you know what I'm saying? I actually like what they did in terms of free agency. With that said, I think their offensive tackle, what's his name? He's great. He's a Hall of Famer. I can't think of his name. It doesn't matter. He's getting
Williams.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Trent Williams. He's getting a little long in the tooth, and I think you might want to be thinking about replacing him.
Well, there's projected in the draft a Tyler Guyland, offensive tackle from Oklahoma.
That's what I would do. I was literally saying I think you should get an offensive tackle. That's what I think you should.
Listen, San Francisco's San Francisco's a high-powered team. They got a bunch of weapons on that team. And yet Kansas City somehow managed to win. I think it's because Brock Purdy, and I'm not going to say Brock Purdy was the problem, but he was young. I mean, it was a big stage for him. Okay. But he's an example of what you're talking about. Put weapons all over the defense and offense for an average quarterback, and you can do things.
Well,
so
I think Brock Purdy.
So your philosophy does work in that case.
Yeah, I think Brock Purdy is very comparable to Mark Sanchez. I think he's very comparable.
I mean, Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. The fact that he even made it to the Super Bowl is retarded. But that team he was on, and they kept talking about he's a game manager. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. He's not all-world quarterback, okay? And he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And he was very good. They were 12-5. They made it to the Super Bowl, okay? But I think the stage was a little big. And, they've got weapons upon weapons on that team. I didn't hear of any of the major skill position players leaving. They might be back there again. They might be back there again.
They might. They got a stacked roster. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think they have 2 number 1 wide receivers in this league. I think they have the second best tight end in this league. I think they got a defense that only got better. That probably was the
best running back. I mean, as far as from scrimmage,
Christian McCaffrey.
That guy is ridiculous, man. He is ridiculous.
Right.
And that helps Brock Purdy out a lot. He doesn't have to throw as much. You throw it to McCaffrey 10 times a game and let him run 15 times a game. That takes the pressure off you, especially in the red zone. And George Kittle didn't have a great year in the beginning of the year.
Right.
He started doing really well.
So everything that I ever said about Brock Purdy and all the people that said I was hating on Brock Purdy last year and everything like that, I'm not hating on him. I just evaluate quarterbacks on would you pay him top of the league money or not. I would not pay
Here we
Brock
go.
Purdy.
Ain't paying no-
I would not pay Brock Purdy top of the league money, and I think he's a result of the talent around him.
I can't argue with you on this because I was totally wrong when it came to Baker Mayfield. So I will defer to you on that. I will not argue with you on that. And I argued Baker Mayfield up and
I don't
down.
look, can we be honest?
Cleveland
I
shipped his
appreciate
ass
that.
out
I
of there.
appreciate that.
Cleveland shipped his ass out of there
I
as fast as they
appreciate that.
could. And I was shocked by that. And I said, oh my God, I was totally, because I thought they were going to back the truck
Can
up
we-
for Baker Mayfield.
I appreciate
And
that.
they shipped
but
him out of there so fast, it was ridiculous.
I appreciate
Although
that.
he did go to the playoffs with Tampa Bay, which is pretty interesting.
I get it. I appreciate what you just said.
No,
but
you were right about that.
but I did
You were
think
right
at the same time I did think Carson Wentz was going to be better. So I can't really say that I'm just.
Well, you've been a lot wrong than I have, so that's all I'm saying.
I don't expect you to say anything else outside. All right, cool. So let's wrap this up. First of all, Derek, thank you for coming back on, blessing us with your presence,
Listen,
bringing
man,
that heat back to the
I
show.
appreciate it.
You are the
appreciate you having me
platform.
back, cuz.
Yeah, you are the platform for which this show has been created on. So
Thank you.
we
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
having you in, and we want to have you more often. So
Thank you, and I'm happy. I'm happy for your success, and I'm happy that this channel is taking off. And I'm really happy for your success, because anytime I can help you, let me know.
oh, we're gonna have you back on. Let's worry.
Can I get paid for this video though? I'm serious.
You asked that already. The answer still is no, but I
Still
appreciate
no.
the question.
Well, I got a certain auntie that's gonna have some talk with you about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm gonna let you know.
I know you're talking about Fern. I know you're talking about Fern.
Absolutely. I'm gonna get auntie on you.
I can't wait. You bring her over here. I already know how this is going to turn out. So either
right,
way, so
well, anytime you want me, you call. Man.
Got you. So for our Cuz You Don't Know family, you can check us out on YouTube and Spotify for our long episodes, and you can check our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We all over the place. And Derek, man, I appreciate everything that you brought here. I appreciate everything that you brought here, but unfortunately, I gotta tell you too. Hold on, but I gotta tell you something too. With all that said, hold on. With all that said, cuz you don't know football either.
Because you don't know football.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on.
All right, buddy.